I recently sat down with Tracy Thomas. She is a professor at the University of Akron School of Law. She recently wrote a book about feminism called Elizabeth Cady Stanton and the Feminist Foundations of Law. She explains her role here at the University of Akron.
I am a Cyberlin Chair of Con Law and Director of the Constitutional Law Center. The Constitutional Law Center is really unique. It's one of just two such centers in the United States that were established by Congress in 1986, which was the bicentennial of the Constitution. And Congress gave appropriations to 4 schools to fund centers and professorships to research the Constitution. Us and Akron and Drake University are the two that have operational centers, and so it's quite a prestigious attribute that we have here in Akron. And so what the center does, we have student fellows who work in it, we have faculty fellows, and our mission is really to do research on constitutional issues and provide public education. So we have a Twitter, we have social media, we do programming for the community, the university, and the law school, as well as contribute to the research in the area.
Feminism was such a big topic during the women's liberation movement of the 1960s and 1970s, but Professor Thomas says that Stanton was thinking of these revolutionary ideas 100 years before.
As I started researching in this area, I realized Stanton was asking those same questions more than 100 years ago. And that to me was interesting, because you don't think of that. You think of feminism as being kind of the 1960s, women's lib, and we had the vote, but we didn't really have too much else. And that's just not true. It turns out this is a very long-standing area of inquiry.
To most people, Elizabeth Cady Stanton worked with Susan B. Anthony to fight for women's right to vote during the mid-1800s. Professor Thomas says that there's more things Liz Stanton did that most people don't even know about.
We don't know very much about Elizabeth Cady Stanton. I mean, we should. I call her the Oprah of the 19th century. It's a bit of an exaggeration, but she was all over the place. For 50 years, she led organizations. She wrote newspaper articles in all the leading New York papers. She did a tour, the Lyceum tour, where she would go across the country and speak 10 months of the year for 11 years. I mean, everybody knew her. And so we have compartmentalized her into, she was the first one to demand the women's right to vote. Her platform was holistic. She had 3 components. She said we need to change the state, the family, and the church.
Women's liberation continued to the 1970s when CBS had on their network the Mary Tyler Moore Show. The show featured one of the first single women on TV to not be controlled by men in any way, something Stanton wanted long before the show began to air. To a lot of people, such as Oprah Winfrey, she was a role model. To others, including feminists, she was criticized for her character not being feministic enough. Professor Thomas talked about how this legendary actress inspired her.
I did watch the show. I was probably at the tail end of it. I don't know if that impacted me. I certainly saw her as a role model, as did many.
Tracy Thomas continues the discussion about feminism as it continues to affect millions of people across the country and world. It continues to be a controversial topic to discuss. If you want more information about getting a copy of her book, go to Amazon.com or NYUPress.org. This has been Naquan James for Lights, Camera, Akron.